From a small roadside kitchen in rural America to a global fast food empire, this
KFC is an inescapable global monolith. Almost anywhere you can find a glowing sign promising the original recipe of 11 secret herbs and spices. To find the brand's true origin, we have to look back to 1930, a time defined by poverty and a raw struggle for basic survival. At 40 years old, Harlan Sanders was an exhausted school dropout who had been cooking for his younger siblings since he was 6 years old. He spent his early life drifting through odd jobs, driven by the constant pressure to provide for his family. He operated out of a small gas station in Kentucky. To make ends meet, he was forced to convert a dusty storage room into a makeshift dining area for travelers. Sanders spent much of the 1950s living on the road. He slept in his car and traveled across the country, pitching his fried chicken recipe to any independent restaurant owner who would listen. This global empire started as an act of raw survival. Sanders perfected his recipe while living in his car, long before any corporate boardrooms or marketing strategies were involved. By 1964, Sanders had built a network of over 600 locations. Despite that success, he sold the entire company to a group of investors for only $2 million. These new owners focused on corporate efficiency, scaling the business at a speed that Sanders never could have achieved on his own. By the end of the 1960s, there were 3,400 KFC locations in operation. Compared to other chains, KFC's dominance was clear. McDonald's was only half the size, giving KFC a massive head start in the American market. In the early 1970s, KFC held a commanding position. Their lead over the rest of the industry appeared untouchable, setting a standard that every other fast food chicken chain was forced to follow. After passing through several owners, KFC eventually became the anchor of Yum! Brands. Yum! Brands is a global corporation that manages several major fast food chains, including Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. This map illustrates their current reach. Today, the brand operates over 26,000 stores across more than 150 countries. This chart breaks down their 2024 earnings. KFC generated roughly $3.10 billion, which accounts for 40.9% of the total revenue for the entire Yum! Brands portfolio. International markets provide the momentum for this growth, with system sales abroad increasing by about 6%. A recipe created in a Kentucky gas station has effectively moved beyond its American roots to become a staple of global culture. This international focus is most evident in China. KFC was the first U.S. fast food chain to enter the country during the 1980s. They used that early entry to adapt their menu and brand, becoming one of the most recognizable American names in the Chinese market. This shift led to a major milestone in 1997, when KFC's international locations officially outnumbered their stores back in the United States. The brand's focus had moved overseas, leaving the domestic market in a state of neglect. While KFC flourished abroad, the brand began to struggle on its home turf in the United States. Corporate owners looked for ways to increase profit margins. They changed operational processes to make the food cheaper and faster to prepare, often at the expense of the original standards. Colonel Sanders was highly vocal about these changes. In the 1970s, he described the new gravy as wallpaper paste and criticized the company for moving away from his original recipe. The company even attempted to sue Sanders for these public criticisms, creating a strange rift between the brand and its own founder. The drive for corporate scale stripped away the quality and personality that had originally made the chicken famous in America. This decline in quality allowed specialized competitors to gain ground. KFC spent the 1990s reacting to trends set by chains like Boston Market. Boston Market is a restaurant chain that gained popularity by focusing on rotisserie chicken instead of fried options. Then came the rise of Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is a competitor that built its reputation on high-quality chicken sandwiches and specialized customer service, directly targeting KFC's weaknesses. In 2013, Chick-fil-A officially surpassed KFC as the highest-selling chicken chain in America, despite having fewer stores. The trend continued as chains like Raising Cane's, with a limited chicken finger menu, also moved ahead of KFC in total revenue. The physical footprint of the brand is shrinking. In 2024, KFC was down to 3,669 stores in the U.S., losing more than 120 locations in just 12 months. KFC's decline in America stems from a failure to maintain the specialization and quality that modern diners now expect from the industry. The brand attempted to fix its image through several pivots, including changing its official name to initials to avoid the word fried. Marketing became a series of stunts, ranging from rotating celebrity actors playing the Colonel to sending a spokesperson to the UN. The UN, or United Nations, is an international organization typically reserved for global diplomacy and peacekeeping. These expensive corporate campaigns feel worlds away from the man who perfected his recipe in a small Kentucky storage room nearly a century ago. The empire Harlan Sanders built has taken over the world, but in the country where it all began, the soul of his original recipe is slowly fading away, leaving its future in doubt. The American chicken market has shifted towards specialized, high-volume chains like Popeyes and Raising Cane's. These competitors have spent the last decade aggressively siphoning customers. For 50 years, KFC was the highest-selling chicken restaurant in the country, but in 2013, Chick-fil-A overtook them. This gap is driven by store-level efficiency. Chick-fil-A generates the highest per-store revenue, while KFC manages a shrinking domestic footprint, closing hundreds of locations. This is a total reversal of fortune. KFC is being displaced and marginalized in the very market where it was born. The decline was accelerated by years of internal neglect. While competitors modernized, many KFC locations were left to age, earning a reputation for outdated facilities and slow service speeds. Even the core product lost its way. After selling the company, the Colonel watched new corporate owners prioritized cost-cutting, and the recipe changes disgusted him. Sanders began publicly attacking the brand's new direction. He famously described the corporate gravy as pure wallpaper paste and claimed the extra crispy chicken was nothing more than a fried dough ball. As they lost their culinary identity, the company began to pivot away from fried chicken entirely. In a series of failed experiments to find a new niche, they tried selling everything from roast beef to spare ribs. By abandoning the specific cooking standards that built the brand, KFC traded its long-term reputation for short-term rapid expansion. Without the Colonel to lead them, marketing became increasingly erratic. In 2009, the company launched a stunt where they lobbied the United Nations to recognize a fictitious grilled nation to promote their new menu items. That same year, a promotion with Oprah Winfrey for free chicken coupons completely overwhelmed their supply chain. Restaurants couldn't handle the crowds, leading to massive shortages and a wave of national bad publicity. The brand was already in a defensive crouch. In 1991, they officially dropped their full name in favor of the initials KFC. The goal was to distance themselves from the word fried as consumers became more health-conscious. This move fueled a persistent urban legend. For decades, a rumor circulated that the company was legally barred from using the word chicken because they were using genetically modified beakless organisms. These combined failures, from operational meltdowns to bizarre rumors, severely eroded public trust in the American market. However, the American experience is an outlier. While the brand struggled at home, it was quietly becoming a dominant, high-end retailer across the rest of the globe. By 1997, foreign locations outnumbered U.S. stores. Today, over 80% of global business happens outside America. A head start in China built Asian dominance. In Vietnam, they'll reach 172 stores by 2025, commanding over 13% of the market. In China and the Middle East, KFC is a premium experience. They localized their menus, abandoning the budget fast food image that defined their U.S. decline. These international markets are the primary source of growth for Yum brands. Global system sales continue to rise, even as the American division loses ground. KFC has transitioned into a hyper-profitable global empire that has largely moved past its American origins. For 2025, the company is pivoting back. Yum Brands has launched the Kentucky Fried Comeback, a heavily funded initiative to reclaim their standing in the U.S. market. They are using the billions in profit generated from their international strongholds to bankroll this new domestic offensive. Their strategy shifts focus away from the physical dining room toward a network of automated sales and AI-driven order management. These systems use artificial intelligence to handle drive-through voice orders and optimize digital delivery. The plan relies on a dual approach: high-volume social media advertising to reach younger demographics, and a return to the classic menu items and value pricing that originally defined the brand. This is a systematic attempt to use foreign capital and data-driven logistics to reoccupy the American chicken market. KFC now exists in a state of contradiction, a dominant force across the globe that is barely holding on to its market share at home. It remains to be seen if international profits and new automation can overcome decades of brand erosion and the deep-seated loyalty consumers now have for rivals like Chick-fil-A. As this globalized organization begins its new push, the final test is whether American diners will return to the brand that started it all, or if the market has moved on forever.
If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We explore the rise, fall, and hidden stories behind the world's biggest companies.